ikhaya lami ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana Jerusalem.
Welcome to the downtown studios of Cranford, New Jersey. You are here at the Commissioner's Cove. Alongside of me is the co-commissioner, 13th Legion, and I am the commissioner, Ricky Let Me Down. Welcome.
How you doing, Commish? How are you doing today?
On
this eve of the last week of the regular season of fantasy football.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, this is right.
It's for all the marbles getting into the playoffs.
Yeah.
All right. About 4 weeks left. Week 14, and then three weeks, unless you have a bye. 2 weeks, and then
it's a long, cold winter.
It sure is. It sure is.
Winter is coming.
All right. Welcome to the podcast of week number 14, Start'ems and Sit'ems, where we gather all of our information.
Yeah.
Try to put.
What are we?
Hold on. We try to gather all the information, put it all together to give it to you guys. Hopefully, you guys can sit back, relax, drink a little cafecito, smoke your cigar,
Or scotch.
do whatever you do on your own time. All right, whatever you guys enjoy to do, and enjoy two distinguished gentlemen.
I like that.
Because you don't like
that.
You don't like when I call us old.
I don't. No.
Talking about us fantasy football.
Distinguished gentlemen.
Besides that, a friend of mine, a person I know, actually said to me that maybe we can use a different something different to describe us. You know, I'm a friend from the
news person?
the news lady from DC.
Wow.
You know, I appreciate
We made it to the big time.
we made it to the big time. I appreciate you listening to the podcast. You know, I really do appreciate it. Co-commissioner appreciates it. We appreciate you coming down here to this this cove that I call the commissioner.
The Commissioner's Cove, yes.
Commissioner's
Beautiful
Haven.
downtown
And
studios of Cranford, New Jersey.
yeah,
Yes.
you're welcome anytime. Thank you for the shout out. You know, and hopefully give you a shout out back. All right, so let's get on to this. Obviously, every week we go through real quick the weather report for week number 14, and it's here. It's here.
The cold weather. Well, the last few weeks has been miserable. Some of those games there were downpours and cold and rain and snow and flurries.
It's here.
Mud.
This is exactly what we've been talking about for a couple of weeks now.
Yes.
Let's go over them.
It just came a second to the last
Yeah.
game of regular season.
Let's
but
go.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the podcast is going to get out for you for Thursday night, which is tonight. However, tonight, I'll see what I can do to edit and send out the information. But it's going to be clear, 39 degrees. And
Start writing this down.
yep, it's not going to affect the game at all. All right, then you got Atlanta versus the Buccaneers at Atlanta. Obviously, dome. It's good to go. It's a chance of showers outside, but it's not going to affect Atlanta. Then you got the Bears, the Lions at the Bears. All right, 35 degrees, mostly cloudy. All right, 14-mile-per-hour winds. All right, that should be good to go. Then you got Indy at Cincinnati. 32% chance of rain in this one, okay, in Cincinnati. 15-mile-per-hour winds. All right, so we all know today's Thursday. Check your weather lineups for Sunday. Things can change.
Absolutely.
You know, it's
they
cold
can.
in Cincy. It's cold up there. It's cold, rainy. It's an ugly day. So it could affect a lot of fantasy players. Then you got Jacksonville at Cleveland at the Browns. 60% chance of rain, 40 degrees in Cleveland.
That's a high percentage.
Yeah.
In
Yes.
Cleveland?
In Cleveland. So
That's a cold rain right
cold, windy, 17-mile-per-hour winds as of now, as of Thursday. Then you got
there.
Carolina.
I wonder if that benefits the run game.
Always does.
Yes.
Always does. Then you got Carolina at New Orleans. It's in the dome. Good to go. 55 degrees, but it's good to go. Houston versus the New York Jets. All right, 58 degrees, 84% chance of rain this Sunday. It's going to be ugly Sunday. It's going to be ugly.
It's supposed to be ugly here
Yeah.
on Sunday. Yes.
So you better check your lineups. All right. We'll talk about the injury updates. Breece Hall came up on an injury report today. They talk about he might not be playing. Maybe if you need a running back, Dalvin Cook. You never know. But then again, we'll talk about the New York Jets. It's starting Mr. Zach Wilson again. And if you're starting Garrett Wilson, good luck. All right. Good luck. Then the Rams at Baltimore Ravens. 94% chance of rain. 94% chance of rain right there. Definite rain showers, 20-mile-per-hour winds. So we have a kicker, which is Justin Tuck. All right. Or with the Rams, that could affect Puka Nacua. It'll benefit Kyron Williams. So,
It's Tucker.
I'm sorry. You know what I mean. Tucker.
Yeah.
The kicker for Baltimore. You know what I meant. All right. 20-mile-per-hour wind. So that's going to be an ugly game.
Don't forget, we do the research for those people who don't do it.
That's right.
Got to be correct.
All right.
Sorry.
I apologize. All right. The Vikings at the Raiders inside, good to go on that one. Seahawks versus 49ers, 61 degrees. That's going to be good to go. All systems go for Mr. McCaffrey if you need him for week number 14. All right. Then you got the Bills at the Chiefs, 40 degrees, partly cloudy, 10-mile-per-hour winds. It should be good to go in KC. At KC, Denver at the Los Angeles Chargers. Okay.
Yes.
73 degrees. It's in the dome. It's good to go. The Eagles at the Cowboys in the dome. Titans at the Dolphins, 67 degrees in Miami. No chance of rain, believe it or not. All right, that's going to be 14-mile-per-hour winds.
Who knows? It's Florida. That might change tomorrow.
Yeah. Then you got the Packers at the New York Football Giants. All right, 38 degrees, clear, 16-mile-per-hour winds on that one. So we have two games pretty much that are going to be rainy. Please check your lineups, check the weather.
I believe that game is in Green Bay. I don't know.
No, it says here at the. It's weird. It says here at the Giants. Sure?
I believe it's in Green Bay, but I'm going to check.
Yeah, check. It says Packers at the New York Giants. But if it is Green Bay, then it was a typo error on the I contacted our production crew. Maybe they tried to do the funny on me, but we'll see. All right, let's go over the injury reports, all right, real quick. You got Indianapolis, all right, versus you got the Indy game. You got Jonathan Taylor is obviously still out and against the Bengals. Chase Brown is questionable, but he did practice today, so he should be good to go.
Oh, I know what. It is at the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
It's at the Meadowlands. It's at Prudential. It's at the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that I forget their game is on Monday night. The Jets game is Sunday.
Okay.
All right.
No one cares. All right, so Chase.
Well, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
It's supposed to rain heavy for the Jets game, and
Right.
it's not supposed to rain for the Giant game. That's important.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. All right, Chase Brown, again, backed up. Believe it or not, came out of nowhere. The rookie backed up Joe Mixon, and he got some burn. If Joe Mixon ever goes down, we'll talk about that later on in the program. Just remember that name, Chase Brown. Then you got the Jaguars versus the Cleveland Browns.
Jaguars.
Yeah. Dearness Johnson, questionable, with limited practice on Wednesday. C.J. Beathard with the shoulder, and obviously we talk about Trevor Lawrence practice today with that bum ankle. I think he plays. I think they need him. They absolutely need him. Even if they got to alter their game plan. Travis Etienne questionable, limited practice on Wednesday. I think that's a veteran off day. Christian Kirk's gonna miss a lot of time. I think you're not gonna have him for your playoff push. Or the playoffs at all. So you better, hopefully your bench is strong. Hopefully you have somebody that you can put in. If not, you better pick somebody off the waiver wire. And we do have some sneaky links that we're going to talk about that you can pick up for Mr. Christian Kirk. Browns, Marquise Goodwin's out. DTR is concussion protocol. Kareem Hunt's questionable with a groin. Practice Wednesday. I'm not sure if Kareem Hunt plays. I think he does, but limited basis. Jerome Ford is the one there. Amari Cooper, concussion protocol, the practice on Wednesday. That's a question mark right there with Amari Cooper. Sneaky link right there. Fire. I think Elijah Moore.
Don't steal the thunder.
I apologize. We'll talk about it in a little while. All right. No one else of significance there. Talk about the Panthers injury updates versus the Saints over here. Kendrick Miller still questionable. Jawan Johnson's questionable. Derek Carr's questionable. Concussion rib, right shoulder. I don't know about David Carr. I think even if David Carr plays, I think it's going to be a lot of dump offs to Alvin Kamara. And, I mean, I don't know. Do you think that arm is going to be well for Chris Olave? I think with Winston starting, Olave takes a boost up. I just don't know.
Well, Taysom Hill is injured. Also,
Taysom Hill, yep.
Yeah, so that's
I had him in here as well.
I know they had him quarterbacking at the end of that game instead of Winston. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. It's still too early, Players, do the best obviously they can to get back in.
All right, Houston, Texas versus New York Jets. Latest injury updates. You have Dalton Schultz is questionable. I think he's back and I think he's going to be playing. He was limited. Noah Brown with the knee was limited in practice. Obviously, everyone knows about Tank Dell. What occurred with him with the fibula is a shame because he was really He was really skyrocketing through the rankings. And then the Jets, Brees Hall. I just talked about that. Brees Hall is questionable. He might miss this game. Dalvin Cook, you might want to fire up and start up, just in case you need a running back. Obviously, everyone knows about Aaron Rodgers. He's not going to come back this year. There's no reason for him to come back. Then you got the Rams versus the Baltimore Ravens. The Rams, you have Tyler Higbee is questionable with his neck. He missed Wednesday's practice. Puka Nacua is a big one for a lot of people. I have Puka. I believe you have Puka Nacua with the shoulder injury. But we just talked about the weather over there with the Rams and the Ravens. It's going to be ugly, sloppy. It's going to hurt our wide receivers. It's going to help the running backs. It's going to hurt our wide receivers. And we all know Baltimore doesn't mind the rain because Baltimore runs.
Yes, I know. I always felt the opposite. I always felt that the rain helped the wide receivers more so than the defenders who have to react to what the wide receiver does.
Well, we all know Matthew Stafford is a slinger. However, why am I drawing a blank on the quarterback for the Ravens? Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is not.
Who, by the way, didn't practice today.
Yeah, he's not really a slinger. He'll probably run more, so that's good if you have Lamar Jackson playing because he'll probably get some rushing yardage for your team.
For those of you who weren't aware, he has an illness. It's not an injury to like a knee, an ankle, or anything like that, and they expect him to play. It's just something we have to say. He did not practice. He has an illness.
Minnesota Vikings versus the Raiders. All right. Anyone here for the Raiders? No major updates there. And the Vikings, obviously Dobbs is going to be playing. And your man, Justin Jefferson, is back. So I think he's going to have a decent game. All right. Takes a hit on Hockenson. We'll see what Dobbs does. And Madison takes a little hit on Madison as well because JJ gets the majority of the balls over there. All right, Seattle Seahawks versus 49ers. Zach Charbonnet, questionable with the knee. All right, he didn't participate Wednesday. Kenneth Walker, oblique, he was a non-participant in Wednesday's practice. He did a walkthrough, I believe, Tuesday, right? He did a walkthrough. So I'm not sure about those two running backs. I believe one of them plays. I'm just not sure how effective they're going to be for week number 14. All right. For the 49ers, everyone looks good. However, Elijah Mitchell is questionable. All right. We'll talk about that in a moment for possible your backups for and protecting McCaffrey. Then you have Denver Broncos versus Los Angeles Chargers. Marvin Mims is questionable. Greg Dulcich is questionable with a hamstring injury. And Chargers, Joshua Palmer is they're activating him off the IR. All right, so they're getting a big piece.
Yes, Quentin Johnson has disappointed, unfortunately,
Yep,
and Joshua Palmer is a pretty good pickup. If you don't have him, go get him.
Yep.
Even if you have to stash him, I mean, listen, if you need depth and you're going to the playoffs, that's not a bad stash.
It really isn't a bad stash there. All right, then you got the Eagles versus Dallas Cowboys. All right, Julio Jones in practice doesn't matter. He really doesn't get the ball. I think he's out there for a decoy anyway, or just to occupy the cornerback in the nickel package and defense. Then you got the Cowboys injury updates. Rico Dodell's questionable. All right, somebody needs to back up Pollard. All right, why don't you look up the backup for Pollard? All right, if you can, please.
That's Rico Dodell.
No, he's questionable. If he doesn't play, who's his backup?
Oh.
Third string running back, co-commissioner here will get it for you guys.
Yes, boss.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Appreciate for your understanding. Mm-hmm. All right, then you got Tennessee Titans versus the Miami Dolphins here. All right, you got Derrick Henry questionable, but he's going to be playing. And Dolphin injuries, you do have Dolphin injuries. You have an offensive lineman that just went out, which is Terrell Armstead just went out, our left tackle for the Miami Dolphins.
He's always hurt.
Yeah, he is always hurt. They shuffle a lot of people around the offensive line. But can it affect Achane? I don't think so. I think with Mike McDaniels, with his scheme, I think he'll do well, as well as Mostert will do well as well. Packers versus the Giants. Aaron Jones questionable. Christian Watson. I don't think Christian Watson plays with that hamstring injury.
Deuce Vaughn. There
he is right there. So Deuce Vaughn, third string. If Rico Dodo doesn't play, you need to protect Tony Pollard. Maybe you could roster Deuce Vaughn on your fantasy team. All right. That's all I have for the injury updates. All right. You have anything before I get into mine?
Well, you're doing such a good job monopolizing the time. You please go ahead.
No, you go.
No, I have nothing to add.
You have nothing to add?
No. Your injury reports are, yes, they're very valuable, obviously. Right. Go on to the next segment. I don't really have anything to say because once we talk about injury reports, we talk about sneaky links because obviously injuries present opportunities for other players. Right. So we'll get to that.
Okay. All right, let's
a little bit.
Let's talk about the running back usage for week number 13 because this is big, believe it or not. You know, when you're doing your research, you're trying to start picking people up for depth for your playoff run. This is really interesting information. This is what I utilize. All right, and this is what the snaps and touches. Obviously, Kamara got 20 snaps, 20 touches. He got 58% of this snap share. Chuba Hubbard. We talked about in our last segment. Chuba Hubbard took over in Carolina because of the new coaching staff. And let me tell you, Chuba Hubbard, I'm not saying he could be a league winner, but he can be viable down the stretch here if they keep utilizing. He got 25 touches, all right? 25 to 0 for Sanders and 1 for Blackshear, all right? That's 25 touches. That's someone that you really got to think about. If you do have him, don't be afraid. If you really need a running back, that's somebody you really could look at. Then you have, obviously, Rashad White, 87% of the touches there. And then Bijan. Bijan has gone up every week. He got 75% of the touches, 21 touches last week. That's really big for you.
Just to go back to Chuba, I mean, he is ranked in our league. He's the 29th ranked running back. So that's right outside the top 24, obviously. So he's kind of like an RB3. He's definitely a flex player. Last 2 weeks put up 19 and 24 fantasy points. He's since they've been giving him touches, he's come through.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah. He didn't get any catches last week, but the week before he had 5 for 47. So something to think about going a stretch run. His playoff schedule looks like this: Atlanta at home, Green Bay at home, and at Jacksonville. So it's decent, not the best, but it's not that bad.
Yeah. Ezekiel Elliott got 21 touches over there with Ramondre Stevenson obviously getting hurt. That's another one. He plays tonight, so you're going to have to roll the dice, or I know this is not going to get out.
I know that in our leagues, I think someone has them already. In our league, someone has them already. I think in both leagues, someone has them already. But talk about a schedule. He's got KC, at Denver, and at Buffalo.
It's pretty tough.
No, that's not very tough.
Yeah.
Those run defense are not tough. He's got the question I have to ask you is, and we'll check this at the end of the year if someone could remind us. But who do you think is going to have more fantasy points for the rest of the year? Ezekiel Elliott or Tony Pollard?
That's a good question. We'll find out.
Keep track of that.
All right. Breece Hall, 68% touches, 19 touches last week, obviously, and Cook with 10. But if Breece Hall goes down, obviously Cook gets more touches, but we'll talk about the Jets there.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm still waiting for something else to happen. I'm waiting. This is a deep dive. Israel Abanikanda, he lit him up in the preseason. The Jets really looked forward to having him. And I think that was one of the reasons why they let go of Michael Carter. So if anyone wants to take a deep dive, just you never know. He might be the guy the Jets use at the end of the year. They don't want to hurt Breece Hall.
They should. They should use him.
They want to see what the rookie's got to offer.
Yeah, they should use him. They should. All right. HN got 61% of the target share, the touches, the snaps and touches, where most are with 38% with 12.
Okay, I have to interject on that.
Yeah.
I believe Mostert only played 1 snap or 2 snaps in the second half. It was basically a rest day.
Yeah.
They were up by a lot, and they let HN run. So,
right,
good stat, take into consideration, but just take a look at the totality of the circumstances, and you'll see that maybe Mostert's not disappearing. He's going to be playing this week.
Well, he's ranked number 2. He's behind Christian McCaffrey in points.
Yes.
All right.
And you pointed out something from your insiders. What is he trying to do?
He's trying to break Ricky Williams' touchdown record for the Miami Dolphins for the most touchdowns. All right, in a single season. At the age of what? 31. I think 31 or 30. 31 or 33. Something like that.
No, I think he's 31.
All right.
I think he's his number.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe 31 years old. All right, let's move on. You got Pollard with 78% of the touches, and then you have Gainwell. Swift got injured, okay? But Gainwell, with this game here, playing last week, Gainwell got 7 touches and Swift 8. However, on the field, Gainwell overtook Swift's target shares here, week number 13. Is there a change of guard?
Like you said, he got hurt. Swift took a big hit.
He took a big hit.
Yeah.
But you just never know. Just monitor that, okay? Gibson. Antonio Gibson got 56% of the target share of snaps and touches to Robinson's 22. However, this is a big stat here. When Robinson got injured, the rookie Rodriguez and Gibson same snap count. Same. So you would think that Gibson would take over the lead, get more touches. It didn't work like that. Both of them split, Rodriguez and Gibson. All right, just take that into account, okay? Don't say Gibson.
They used Rodriguez earlier in the year.
Right. Don't say that Gibson's going to be the man and feel free to start him, because you know what? You got to look into it. Do your research a little bit more, because they're going to share snaps, and I'm not sure how Bieniemy is going to utilize their running backs over there. Obviously, Zach Moss, 94% chance. Singletary, Pierce overtook him. You know, it's a shame because Singletary did so well. All right, so I don't know if they're going to trust Pierce more, and Singletary now drops down to maybe a RB3, possible flex option, or a desperate start, okay, with Singletary.
Well, I believe this week you have to put that into consideration against the Jets defense.
Yeah. All right. You got ATM with 62% of the touches, 15, and Johnson with 36, but we talked about Johnson's injury, Dearness Johnson's injury, all right, a little bit. ATM, I think they should be utilizing a little bit more, especially with Trevor Lawrence's injury. So if you have ATM, please, if you're trying to figure out who you want to start, all right, you're gonna have to outweigh all this information. And then this is Derrick Henry got injured. This was a big one. Mr. Spears, 67% of the touches when Derrick Henry went out with possible
concussion. Yeah, I know. He was a big waiver wire pickup this week. However, King Henry's playing. He's going to shake that concussion protocol thing, and he's going to be. Unfortunately, Tajay is back to a handcuff.
Okay. Najee Harris, 59% of the touches over Warren. I mean, we talked about this last week in week number 13, stars 7, now it's 14. I mean, we talked about Harris won't go away.
No, and he's nursing a knee injury, and although the last word I got is he is playing tonight, he might not play his full complement of snaps, but you're right, he's not going away.
Not going away.
Jalen Warren is there, but against a tough New England run defense, I don't know how effective either one of them would be. Yeah. I'm in a conundrum because I believe I have a choice. Do I play Hubbard against New Orleans, or do I play Jalen?
Well, we just
Warren
talked about that
against New England.
I think I will go Hubbard.
I know we did talk about that.
That's who I will go with, believe it or not. All right, Ford, 51%. I think Ford gets all the touches over there in the Browns because Hunt is nursing an injury, and then you have Mixon. Everyone saw what Mixon did on Monday night, and he's going to continue that if the quarterback plays well, which he did. And then you have Green Bay, Dillon, 63% touches. That's when Aaron Jones was injured. However, Aaron Jones practiced today.
Yes.
And he might be playing, so relegates Dillon back to the backup role, possibly. I just think that they're still going to put him in the goal line and utilize him because he's a powerful individual. And they're fighting for a playoff spot, and they're playing well. That team right there is playing hot right now. And we all know December, you get hot, scary team.
Yes. Yeah, they're gelling at the right time.
Yep. All right, then you got Montgomery and Gibbs. Obviously, you know, Montgomery.
Well, let me just say this. You know, they're coming into New York to play the Giants. The Giants, they came around too. That might be a very entertaining game Monday night.
All right, we'll see. I picked up the Green Bay Packers defense and
I saw that, and I didn't. I was going to tell you. I said you should really rethink that because the Giants. Take a look at the Giants. They've put up a lot of fight the last few weeks.
I just don't know if they're gonna sustain that with Tommy Cutlets. We'll see. All
right, come on now. Hey,
how you doing?
Oh, that's not right, guy.
You know,
that's not
right.
I
just don't think he has a little mozzarella in this. You know,
respect Tommy Cutlets, man.
Yeah, take your gabagool out of here, right? All right, Montgomery's getting 62% of the touches over there to Gibbs. I'm not liking that because I got Gibbs starting. I believe you have Gibbs starting, and Montgomery just doesn't go away. So, but Montgomery, they trust him in the goal line. They trust him in there. Gibbs is explosive, so we'll see how they utilize them. Just make
I think that's a case of better luck next year for Gibbs. Unfortunately, they have a formula. It's been working. They're not going to deviate from that.
All right.
Football coaches are very superstitious. They're not going to go away from what works.
Yep. Obviously, everyone knows Kyron Williams needs to say no more there. McCaffrey, no need to say no more. Connor, 25 touches. All right, Connor really came off against his former team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. He did well.
Listen, we speak about this off air. We talk about the running backs that win you championships. The last few years, it's been Montgomery, Jamal Williams, it's
Jacobs.
It's been Connor.
Yep,
guys who you're not picking in the first or second round.
Nope. Those are the guys who win you championship games, and I just don't understand why, but they just do. You know, the other guys will get you there. These guys will win you championships.
That's absolutely true.
All right, Charbonnet, 61% of the touches, or snap counts, but he's injured. He's nursing injury, and the one behind him is DJ Dallas. DJ Dallas. So if Kenneth Walker or Charbonnet do not play, Dallas is the guy. He's the next step, the next individual step up. All right, so just keep your mind. That's another sneaky link. All right, then you have Denver Broncos. Javonte Williams, 65%. Pacheco did well. All right, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 3 touches. But if Pacheco's nursing an injury too,
yes, he is.
He's nursing
shoulder.
He's shoulder injury.
Yes.
I think he plays, but monitor that. All right,
yes.
I'll talk about those two again in a little while. Eckler. I don't even want to talk about him.
Sore topic
right now.
For you.
Sore topic. Eckler, 57% of the carries to Kelly's 43, 16-8. However, they got to utilize him a little bit more. All right.
By the way, I took a look. Ricky's touchdown record for the Dolphins was 16 touchdowns in 1 year.
How many does Mozart have?
14.
He needs 2 more.
To get 2 this week.
He sure can.
And that'll be it. Then they'll rest them.
All right. That's what I have for the running backs. Okay. I have a couple of tight ends real quick. Let's go over them if you can. Good matchup for running backs. Tight ends.
Okay, let me hear them.
All right. Obviously, the number 1 tight end against Cincinnati is ranked 32 for the tight ends, but you're not really going to start a tight end for the Colts at all. Isaiah Likely against the Rams, coming in 31, ranked number 31, which is the Rams.
Yeah,
However, the weather. We talked about the weather is going to rain.
It's more than just the weather. I mean, I did research on it. I looked at the stats. There were a couple games last year that likely started because Mark Andrews were hurt, and he did abysmal.
I know, but he only had one. He had one good game. But listen, if there's not, the waiver wire is barren. It's barren. There's nobody there.
You have to pick up something, and you need someone. You could do worse, right?
Right.
I understand that, but I mean, don't count on it.
No, but if you need a tight end, I'm just giving you the schedule and the rankings. Who individuals that the worst against.
We're doing the
tight
research
ends.
that other people are not doing.
Right.
Yes.
Laporta is playing Chicago. Fire him up. Ranked 28th against the tight ends.
Yeah.
All right, and then you have Everett playing Denver, 27th ranked against tight ends. And then here's one interesting one: Dallas Goedert coming up from injury. You're going to play him against Dallas, who's ranked 24 against the tight end.
They're going to use him.
Well,
how much and to what extent? I don't know. We'll see.
Then you got Travis Kelce. Obviously, everyone was to start him playing Buffalo.
I think that's going to be. I think that they're going to score a lot of points against Dallas. I think Dallas is one of those teams like Miami where they have to prove they have to beat the good team.
All right.
And this is going to be their chance.
Good. Now, everyone who has Tyson Hill, I know he's nursing injury, but if he does play, just because of the fact that he's playing Carolina, don't be fooled. Carolina is ranked number 4th against tight ends. Okay, don't be fooled. And then Kincaid is playing KC. KC's ranked 8th against tight ends.
What's worse for Kincaid is that Dawson Knox might play.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And George Kittle is playing Seattle 14th against tight end, and then a lot of people have been starting Njoku, who's playing against the Chargers.
By far has the best tight end schedule.
Yep, he
laid an egg last week.
Playing 15th against the tight end. All right.
However, he did, for you statistics buffs out there, he did receive 25% of the first target share last week. So it's not like that they weren't looking for him. Joe Flacco does have a connection with one of our sneaky links because he played with him on the Jets. That's why Elijah Moore would be a good buy.
There you go. You want to talk about the wide receivers? I mean, we pretty much know what the wide receivers are, all right? The running backs. Believe it or not, number 1, the Denver Broncos is the worst against the run. Eckler's number 1 to start against Denver. We know they were playing well.
We said he had a better stretch run schedule. Right. He had a real rough schedule. I personally think he still lost a step, because of the ankle injury. But it's a bounce back opportunity for him.
All right. Number 2, ranked is going to be Joe Mixon. All right, Joe Mixon. Number 3, Kamara playing Carolina, 29th ranked defense. And believe it or not, number 4 is Mr. Alexander Madison playing the Raiders, 27th ranked defense against the running backs.
I know.
Okay, and then number 5 is going to be David Montgomery playing Chicago, 26.
3 weeks ago, we were talking about Ty Chandler as the guy replacing at Madison.
Yep.
And now we're not even talking about him.
What are you going to do?
So does that mean drop Madison? Drop Chandler?
No, because we're going to talk about that in a second.
Okay.
All right, we're going to talk about it in a second. Quarterbacks real quick. Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott playing Philly, 32nd rank against the quarterback, Russell Wilson. I'm going to give top 5. Russell Wilson playing the Chargers, 30th ranked against the quarterback, Justin Fields, playing Detroit, ranked 29th against the...
Yes, and in our league, our point system, he had 18 points against Detroit the last time they saw each other. So, and he rushed for over 100 yards.
I'm going to give you number 5. You would never guess this one. Playing playing the Chargers, number 20, ranked 27th against quarterbacks. I don't think anyone was. You never know. No, Mr. Joe Flacco, Mr. Smoking Joe Flacco.
Who are they playing?
They're playing the Chargers, 27th ranked against the quarterback, and that's
Are they playing the Chargers? Really?
Yeah. I apologize. Denver's playing Chargers. Jacksonville.
Yes.
I apologize.
Yes.
Cleveland playing Jacksonville, 27th ranked against the quarterback, Joe Flacco.
Yes, they're playing where? In Jacksonville?
They're playing home.
No, they're playing in Cleveland, where it was going to be 40 degrees and 67% chance of rain.
I'm just saying, I'm giving you the rankings.
I won't start Elijah Moore after all.
Yeah, I'm giving you the rankings. Right behind them is Mayfield playing Atlanta and Minshew playing Cincinnati. All right, those are the quarterbacks real quick. Top 5 or top 6, just to give you guys a heads up. All right, we went over the strength of schedule. We just went over that. We went over the strength of schedule on that. We went strength of schedule of the running backs, quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends. All right.
Listen,
what do you have, my friend?
I got a few guys you might want to start. You touched on one of them, and I'm gonna, since that was the one you touched on lately or more recent. Okay, I get it. Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
All right. He killed me against me, but he's going to continue that. Right now, the Colts have the second lowest stuff rate. And that means he's going to be stopped at the line. He's not going to be stopped at the line of scrimmage. So I'm expecting him to have a good game. And then his partner in crime, who also destroyed me in a way because he passed to Jamar Chase, but that's Jake Browning. The Jags were 3rd in pressure rate. All right, so they played the Jags last week, and they were the 3rd highest in the league for pressure rate against the quarterback. And look what he did to them. This week he goes against the Colts, who have the 14th pressure rate. All right, so he's going to get more time to throw. Jamar Chase might be getting a lot more passes down the field as opposed to right at the line of scrimmage. So I say fire up Jake Browning if you need a quarterback in Week 14, trying to make the playoffs. Fire up Joe Mixon. I think Cincinnati's going to have a good game. I have Elijah Moore as a wide receiver. He had 50% of the share of air yards last week after Cooper went down. And Cooper looks like he's not going to play. So as you know, volume is king in fantasy football. Yeah. The volume for him is there. He is at 12 targets last week, 9 the week before. The targets are going to be there. The only thing that concerns me is the weather. So, let's hope that it doesn't downpour like you say it is. Jaden Reed. Watson's probably not going to play, unfortunately. But Jaden Reed, kind of came on after, when Christian wasn't playing. That's a game that I believe is going to be a high-scoring game. I think the Giants are going to put on something, and they're playing at home. They got something to prove. They've been wanting to prove something. Obviously, Green Bay has come back a little bit. They learned how to throw the ball again. I think Jaden Reed's going to have a good game. And then my last guy I have is another wide receiver, and this is for the Jags, and that's Parker Washington. And I believe you feel the same way I do about him.
I was gonna say that.
But Christian, he basically assumed Christian Kirk's position on the field. It's not like they went more to Zay Jones or they changed Zay Jones or Calvin Ridley's routes or Ingram's routes. They just basically plugged in Parker Washington into Christian Kirk's route tree and said, here, you're going to just be the new Christian Kirk.
And he throws to him.
And that was evident by, I think he had 6 catches for 60-something yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's going away. And I think they're going to stick to that formula. So Parker Washington might not be a bad ad.
Well, I'm going to add to that.
Go ahead.
I'm going to add to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I did a little research myself. And because I don't understand why Ridley's not being utilized the way he should be utilized. That being said,
there's even worry he might not be on the team next year.
Well, Ridley's ADOT, which you talked about, average depth of targets, believe it or not, is 14 yards. Last week was 18. Week number 13 was 18 yards. So week 12 was 14 yards. Week 13 was about 14 yards. What does that mean to everybody out there? What that means is he's seeing the ball. So basically, it's almost like a 3rd down and 8 or a third. It's never it's never a first down because you're not really throwing the ball for 14 yards to target the individual. So basically, what they're utilizing for is they need a big third down play. They need a big third down play. They throw it up to him. Hopefully, he catches it. Pass interference call. Yep. I just don't get it. This guy should be getting the ball 1st and 10, 5 yards, 6 yards, yak yards. But they don't do that with him at all.
I want you to go back in time when he started out with Atlanta and Julio Jones was there. Julio Jones was the ex-receiver, and he was going down the field. Mm-hmm. Ridley was playing the slot. He made his hay playing the slot. I think that's where his natural position is. Mm-hmm. When he was in Atlanta, the year he got suspended, he didn't do as well as a lot of people thought he would, assuming that X role. Mm-hmm. I think that's going to be. I think that's the problem. It's the way they're utilizing him.
Yeah.
When it's been well noted this year, he's had trouble against press coverage. You don't get press coverage in the slot as much as you do on the outs, on the perimeter. I think that hampers him.
Yeah.
He has gotten red zone touches, looks at least. I think he missed 2 touchdowns. He had 2 red zone opportunities this past week. He just didn't catch them. He dropped them. As well as the one pass, if you remember, when
he fell on his tush.
He fell, but the ball was right there in his hands. He just couldn't make the catch.
Yeah.
The opportunities are there. It's just that he's not taking advantage of them.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to add on to those streams as well. I got Jalen Hyatt again. We talked about him in weeks past. I think he's going to be your future wide receiver for the New York Giants. I think they're going to start featuring him a little bit more. I think he's a sneaky start or a sneaky pickup if you have roster space. We talked about Parker Washington. You and I think alike. I got Dontavian Wicks with Watson out. You have Reed. I have Wicks out. I think both of them get utilized a lot.
Yes, I just think that that Jaden Reed is more dynamic.
Right. All right, that's good stuff. All right, so real quick, this is the final segment I have, Cole. I have the "Don't Get Caught with Your Pants Down" segment. You know what that means?
Don't get caught with your pants down.
What this means here is, listen, guys, it's fantasy playoff time. What that means is you need to protect your horses on that team. All right, so what does that mean? You got to handcuff your players for all the playoffs, for the playoff run. You got to protect your players. Somebody gets hurt, he goes down. You pretty much, I'm not saying you're done, but if you don't have depth on that team of yours, you're going to lose. So, I'll give you an example. Pacheco's injury, you better protect him. DeAndre Swift, Gainwell, if you have him, or if he's on the waiver or whatever it is, hopefully you do have him. All right, here's another one. Josh Jacobs backup. Jacobs goes down. You better have his backup on your team. All right. McCaffrey's backup. We talked about Elijah Mitchell. I think he's injured. You better protect McCaffrey. McCaffrey goes down. I'm not saying they're going to be as good as McCaffrey. Obviously, nobody is, but you should have their backup. Okay. And an extra quarterback on your team. That's a big one. All right, and I do know that because I'm experiencing now with my other league. I have one quarterback. One of them got hurt. If you don't have an extra quarterback, a decent one, and one of your main horses goes down, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. All right, and another possible tight end if you have the roster space. All right, obviously you can't get 2 tier 1 wide receiver tight ends, but someone who can give you something. All right, to plug and play. And this is the big one as well. Defenses. This is the time right now to start positioning yourself for defenses for the games coming up for the fantasy playoffs. All right, start picking up those defenses against guys like New England or the Jets or believe it or not, or the Raiders with these quarterbacks. All right, you got to start positioning yourself. I understand that, and I had Dallas, and I had to really think about maybe sitting Dallas's defense because of who they play for the playoff weeks, which is Miami, I believe Buffalo, and I'm not sure. It might be Philly. I'm not too sure, but. Or you're going to take someone else like Houston or Indianapolis or Green Bay or the Rams. Check out their schedules, all right, for the fantasy playoff run, all right? What's your take on that?
I do agree with you. Let me just add a few things. Mm-hmm. One, this is different from what they kind of like the guidelines are when you're first drafting at the beginning of the year. You want variety. You don't want to handcuff yourself to just one team. Mm-hmm. So depending on who your running back is at the start of the year, you might want to have that backup. Like I know early in the year you had ATN on your team,
Bigsby.
was going to be your backup because you wanted to protect that stud running back.
All year had him on a team.
I understand that. Then there's another school of thought that says you want to branch out, you want to diversify. You'd rather have 5 starters rather than just 2 starters and 3 backups. All right, even if because you're basically handcuffing yourself to that one team.
Right.
You leave yourself handcuffed when it comes to bye weeks by not having the options. Right. So, but this time of year, it's not like that.
That's right.
This time of year, these are your horses that you're going to.
That's it.
All right. These are the guys you need to protect. There aren't any other games. There's no more buys. This is it. Right. But just keep in mind that some backups are better than others. And I'm just going to point this out. Right. So you said Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is the workhorse of the Raiders.
Yeah.
Who's his backup? You couldn't even guess his name. It's Zamir White. All right. Would you trust Zamir White? Or would you trust the backup of, say, King Henry, Tajay Spears?
Tajay Spears.
Right. So there are backups out there that might not be the backups to your stud running back, but some guys don't have true good backups for you. Like Eckler, we've had this discussion. I had Eckler last year. All last year, they could never find a Joshua Kelly. They tried, I forget the other guy's name, but they kept interchanging him. They could never find a true second to Eckler. Eckler was all by himself. I wouldn't have picked up. I never once last year picked up his backup because it wouldn't have been worth it. He was never going to produce the points that Eckler was going to produce.
How I understand that, but some
You mentioned, I'm sorry, Kamish. You mentioned another guy, which we never got back to, Chase Brown.
That's right.
Mixon goes down. I'm trusting Chase Brown more so than Tank Bigsby.
Yes.
Or even Dearness Johnson.
What I'm saying is that
so just keep that in mind, that we're just not always going for our guy's backup. It might be another backup somewhere else.
But I'm talking about the guys you have on your team if they get injured.
Yes.
And you don't have the depth on your team.
Yes.
Okay, you don't have that extra starting
understand.
running back. You're going to have to pick up his backup. All right. And you're going to have to start him if you have no depth on your team. So this is the final week to lock in your team, protect your team to try to make that run and pray that no one gets injured. All right, Cole. That is all I have for week number 14, Start'ems and Sit'ems.
Injuries.
All right. I appreciate you coming out to the commissioners, Cole. I appreciate your time, your research, your knowledge of fantasy football. I thank you. I thank you guys for listening. Any concerns, comments, leave them in the below. All right. And follow me at Commish 2013. And I want to thank you guys for your patience and your time. And good luck on your games. Good luck on. We'll be back next week. All right, talk about the playoffs as well.
Yes, and we're still working on a wrap-up show.
Yes. Good luck with your games this week coming up. And the only time I don't wish you good luck is when you're playing myself or the co-commissioner.
Yes.
You guys have a good night. Bye-bye.
Take
Jerusalema ikayalami ilondoloze